Good morning on WOTWIP and Coffee, and I do have coffee. And I'm crocheting today. I'm working on that Ripple Romance blanket. I have to admit, my kitties are making me a little on the nutso side today. They have knocked over their water bowl 3 times so far. And so I finally just put the water bowl up, give it a rest for about 30 minutes, and then I'll put it back down for them. A lot of it is when they're running through here and playing, they'll fight right over by the food bowls and the water bowl, and they'll knock it over, and I'm like, come on, cats, stop that. So figure I'd just pull it up out of the way for a little bit and then put it back down in a little bit. They're not gonna be in trouble without it. And I always find it funny because I hear a lot of people talk about cats don't really drink very much. My cats do a lot of drinking. I mean, I fill that water bowl twice a day, and it's a pretty good sized bowl. So they do drink a lot of water. And I think some of that comes from where they were feral and didn't have a lot of access to water. So when water was available, they would always do a lot of drinking. And of course, they got a lot of their water from the wild catches that they were catching, even as kittens. They were learning to hunt, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, they've always been good water drinkers. And I have had cats before that water was minimal. It was not a big thing for them, but they would drink occasionally. So yeah. Have you heard the latest about California? Now, granted, California's law is basically that Gavin Newsom planted was, they signed into law yesterday, I believe it was. No, maybe it was Tuesday. Can't remember when he signed it into law. But basically, it's about deep fakes, and it's about the use of AI to make videos and those kind of things, to change the way someone looks. And he was making a big deal about Elon Musk, where he had done the video with Kamala with using AI and changing things up, and it just irked him no end. So, but the problem is it also outlaws parodies. And I can understand that issue with creating a video to make it look like someone else was talking. You know, basically the things like if you were to put a video up that looked like Trump was repeating the words of Hitler, you know, since the left calls him Hitler all the time. And I have seen that done. Even that would be against the law. And in a sense, he thinks he can force all social media to stop that kind of thing. And I'm not sure he can. I think he can only do that in California. But parodies are perfectly legal. And most people can, well, let me say this. If you see a video and you're pretty sure that Kamala or Trump didn't say those things, you can generally go find the actual true video and find out what was actually said. So there. But I'm kind of curious because I have a lot of Democrat, Republican, independent friends, and I have noticed where a lot of my Democrat friends continue to boast that Trump is a rapist, that he his Project 2025, and that is including the other Harrison Waltz ticket, is Trump's plan for America. Simple search would show you that it's not. So how would it affect those people? Would they be brought down as well for spreading lies and fake news? I'm just curious how that would work there. So it'll be interesting to see how the law plays out. Supposedly it doesn't take effect until November, long after the election, but we'll see how it works out. Should be interesting. But then again, it also kind of stops your ability to have free speech, which we are entitled to. That is one of our rights. So, like I said, it should be interesting how that plays out. If it's ever challenged, I would imagine it will be challenged, and most likely it will be struck down, and they'll have to go back and change the wording a bit. So, and supposedly it also affects, if you post a meme. Now, I posted a meme today about Newsom, and it shows a picture of Newsom in a clown, dressed face up, and says, "I hate memes." And those are the kind of things you wouldn't be allowed to post. I suppose the fact checkers there wouldn't allow you to post that one meme, where the grandmother's hanging out her clothes and it says, "Soon you'll find out why your grandmother washed the foil and washed her plastic bags," and that kind of stuff. That one would be out loud, even though many of us still do it. And I know I did it. I did it in the 70s with my kids, because it was awful expensive. The inflation rate was horrendous under Carter, and for the first couple of years during Reagan, until it started to reset a little bit. It was horrible. So yeah, and there's plenty of times I reused my foil. Give you an example. Those breakfast sandwiches that I made. I don't reheat them in foil in the microwave, because that would cause a fire. So I take that off and I wipe it down and I reuse it somewhere else. It may be just to cover a dish or something, or it may be to use for something else. Lots of times I have an air fryer that is pretty much like a convection oven. So many times I will place that on the tray that I'll put foods on to cook and reuse it that way. So I don't have to keep cleaning the tray all the time. So I wonder if that meme will be outlawed too. So it's rather interesting to see the things that people think are okay. I keep hearing a lot of Democrats talking about doing away with basically free speech. They call it misinformation. Of course, what they consider misinformation is anything that is said that they don't like. And we see that all the time. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and how it works. What are you doing, Missy? She's pretending to clean herself while she's looking at my yarn. I'm thinking about attacking it. as I'm working on it. Again, no cable today, no internet. I had planned on doing another shout out, filming shout out, and the way that I have been doing it lately, I don't know what's out there. The way that I have been doing it lately is to use my iPad for those documents, so I'm not constantly printing out and having to toss away papers. So, problem with that is I have no internet, so I cannot even look at those on my iPad. Yeah, it's frustrating. There's no way for me to turn on my iPad, turn it to cellular so I could try to send it to my phone. And I've tried that, but you can't because there's no internet. So, and I really wish Xfinity would get their stuff done. I had someone explain to me that it's because Xfinity hires contractors, independent contractors, to fix these things. And then the Xfinity workers have to go behind and correct it. That is not the issue up here. I have said before, the issue up here has been that they don't maintain the boxes where they are at, which is basically their domain. Whoever has those, or the city, county, whoever is supposed to come do those, they do not. So it's up to people that live in the area. Of course, mine are on my property. Bamboo is right around it, so I cut that bamboo religiously. And sometimes I do mean it religiously. So because I don't want the bamboo, period, because it will overtake your yard very quickly. And that is basically a nuisance. So that's, part of the reason that I cut it down. Even though the bees love the flowers and it makes great honey, I still cut it down. But since they don't maintain it, having to get up here and to work around the boxes that are there, they have to cut away the brush, the bamboo, and everything else to get to their boxes. Which they would just come around and maintain it every couple of months. Every 3 months, they wouldn't have that issue. So, and I can tell you, it's rather annoying not to be able to do things that you normally would do. Check email. Can't check email first thing in the morning. There are a lot of things that I can do on my cell phone that make it easy. But there are some things you can't do without the internet at all, so kind of painful. Makes it hard to upload things because I don't want to sit there all night long uploading different things. But, if I have to, I have to. Sometimes that's just the way you have to do things. It's the cable company out there with big trucks. So, yeah. So what are you guys working on today? Have you got any plans to start something new within the next couple of weeks? Next couple of days? And I have decided that in this rotation of knitting, crocheting, I am going to add my shirt back in, because all I need to do is finish the back, and then I'm ready to sew it together and to use it. And Tired of it sitting over there unfinished. So I am going to add that into this rotation to work on. And hopefully I can start getting it worked up and finished. And off the hooks, so to say. I have a friend who we do a lot of once a month, every third Thursday, and she is thinking about changing it. She does a craft get together with a lot of other crafters in the community, and we meet over at her place, and we bring whatever crafts we're going to do, and we just sit together and we talk and socialize and have a good time enjoying that company and getting to know one another. So do any of you do that kind of thing? And if you do, is it mainly around one certain type of craft, or do you do a lot of different crafts? I have always teased about having craft ADD, and still have craft ADD. I like to do a lot of crafts, mix them up, do different things, and I just have not had the ability to do a lot of those different things. And now that we're getting into the winter months, I see a little more time getting to do those things because I'm inside. I'm inside more often than not. Although I'm still outside right now during the fall months doing a lot of things in the yard to finish things up. I say yard. I don't really have a yard because they never did bring topsoil in. The companies that I have contacted are not willing to come out and do what needs to be done. The landscaper that I contacted, 2 of them, the estimates were way, way too high. And I just was not willing to put out that kind of money for that kind of thing when it's just topsoil they're bringing in. They wouldn't even be planting grass or seeding or planting any of the plants, anything. And I was like, no, I don't think so. That quote's just a tad high. And I've had a couple of them contact me again, wanting to do a little bit lower price, and still it's not low enough. So, and many of them, when I have asked them about the topsoil, am I guaranteed it's not going to bring in any more of the knotweed, and they can't guarantee that. I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. If you can't guarantee it. So I do in little bits and pieces. I go and I get some of the manure that has been, bagged up and ready to go. Lots of times this time of year you can get topsoil from Walmart. And it's pretty much sterilized because it's been sitting under the sun. So it's probably going to kill off a lot of those added things. You can bring bags and bags of that in. And that's what I've been doing, little bits and pieces here and there to get what I can done. Sometimes you have to do it that way, and that's fine. I don't know if I told you, I did get Medicare finally to approve the CPAP. I'm just waiting for the appointment to meet with the nurse to pick up the equipment and, be taught how to do it and take care of it. And of course, have to go to State College for that. It used to be that they were right here in my area, but they closed down that office. And I'm not sure why, because this company was bought out by Care, and Care is one of the top respiratory companies out there. And so I'm not sure why they decided that it was a good idea to shut down this office, because this office was an outlying office that would carry into some of these smaller areas, but now you have to go into State College, and that makes it a little hard for some folks. I figure I'll just make a day of it. I'll go do it, and then maybe stop at Joann's. Haven't been at Joann's for a little while. Maybe I'll stop and eat somewhere there. Make a full day of it. Well, I won't make a complete full day of it, since I have to come back for Awana, but it would be interesting. Be an interesting day. A lot of fun. The only thing is, it's on a day when Scraps and Skeins is not open. Boo, hiss. It would have been better if it had been on a day when they were open. Because I do like going in there and shopping there first for fabrics. Sometimes you get a great deal there. Some fantastic fabrics. And the whole idea was to keep the fabrics out of the landfill, and that's a pretty good thing to do. So you don't have to worry about sitting and rotting there. Sorry about that, folks. Need to make sure there wasn't something on me to answer right away. But then, of course, I always like looking at the yarn. Sometimes you can get some great deals there. Yarn is pretty much cheaper than it is in the stores. I've noticed when I go to Goodwill, Goodwill is marking everything up like it was Walmart. Walmart prices, and you can't guarantee it's full skein. And find that sad that Goodwill has done that. And of course, there's Salvation Army here, and of course, unfortunately, Salvation Army usually does not get donations of craft items often, mainly because of where their donation center is. It's difficult to get to, and it's just hard to donate a lot of things that way, which I've always enjoyed Salvation Army thrift store. They have some pretty good deals often. So, yeah. I'm just barely getting onto this row with this. And I miss my internet because I don't get to catch up in the evenings on a lot of the other creators out there. Which I do enjoy doing that. I feel like I'm cut off from the world. And in many times that's kind of good, but at the same time it isn't. You know, I could see how people, hermits, if you will be, would, when they get cut off from the world and they have no idea what's going on, and then they come out into the world and they see all these things that are going on, they're like, it's magic. What's happened? You know? And I have to tell you, the other day, you know, seeing the thing with the pagers, and I think it was cell phones as well, in Lebanon, Beirut, with all those Hezbollah people that someone had engineered to where they all exploded, say about the same time. There was, you know, off and on throughout, but pretty much around the same time they were exploding in these people's pockets or wherever they were holding their items. But I have to wonder, how does that happen? You know, was there someone who planted C4 into those, and that they had to have worked with the plant or been exposed in a plant to do that, or, you know, to make sure that it got to the Hezbollah and not to anybody else? And then it makes me wonder, okay, they were able to do that. What did they use to set them off all at the same time? What kind of signal did they use? I mean, did they do some kind of signal that made the batteries explode first and then they explode? Or what? You know? And then I heard someone the other day mention that there was another possibility, that they had actually handed them out amongst themselves, knowing full well that this would happen, and that they might be considered martyrs for their cause, but also it would be an excuse to continue the war. And as you know, Israel and Beirut, there's been a long-standing issues because Lebanon, Hezbollah uses Lebanon to fire rockets and missiles and all kinds of things into Israel all the time. So, you know, it does make you wonder. And that's that little bit of the kernel of truth in the conspiracy theory there. But it'll be interesting to see in the coming days what actually came of it and who actually was behind it. Because I don't think any country or anyone has actually claimed that they did it or that they were capable of doing it. I mean, that in itself, that's a rather high-tech feat of wonder to be able to do. So yeah, our world just seems to be full of all kinds of evil, anger, and madness sometimes, doesn't it? Do any of you have specific holiday crafts that you are working on or doing? My one craft that I would like to work on is getting that cat diamond painting done. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I am working on it little bit by little bit. Sometimes it's only about 15 minutes a day, but it's getting there slowly. Not fast enough if you ask me, but again, got to find time to do some of these things. And I do find that crafts calm me down. When I'm anxious about a lot of things, that helps to calm me a bit. All right, come on there. Stitch open up so I can get into you. For some reason, I did this stitch awful tight down here. There we go. Of course, I don't know how I'm going to get 5 stitches into that. But we'll make it work. I am kind of looking forward to the cooler days. The cooler nights, I sleep better when it's cooler than during the heat. So I'm enjoying the nights a little bit better. I feel like I'm getting better sleep, even without the CPAP so far. But I like having to not be able to go out and in sweltering heat, be able to do things without feeling like I'm melting. Having a low thyroid level means I'm pretty intolerant to heat and cold, which never plays well when it's hot outside. So I am enjoying the cooler weather. And the cooler weather also brings down the deer more often, different times of the day, usually 2 or 3 times a day. They'll come down grazing. And I really wish that they would graze upon the bamboo too, instead of just the clover. I don't mind having clover out there. Some of the weeds I don't care for that grow naturally. The birds, birds deposit those seeds all the time. Don't really care for that. But other than that, the coolness, it's nice getting to see the different critters out there. I have seen possum. I've seen what I call a weasel. It's not really a weasel. It is basically, in Pennsylvania, they have marshalls. They kind of look like a cross between weasels and otters. So I've seen a couple of those. And of course the little chippy monks, they run across the patio, which is funny to watch them because they always have that tail sticking straight up, like an antenna. So you can see them crossing and running. And I always wonder, why do they run with the tail sticking straight up? Does it give them better aerodynamics or what? But, I guess I could go and do an in-depth study of chipmunks, but I'm not that inclined to do that. I do know that Juan of the Yarn Addict has been doing these showcases of the Afghans that he has been getting in for Boggy Creek. He does a separate segment of the ones they've already shown on the live where they're opening up the boxes, between Nancy and Juan and Billy, showing some of the ones she's done. I think Lynette has shown a couple that she has done, although she's not taking them right now because she's in the process of moving. And that takes a lot out of you, trust me. Just packing things up and getting things organized to do a move is pretty intensive labor and time consuming. And of course, like I said, Juan then takes those blankets that were sent to him, opens those up and shows them again so that you can get a better look, closer look at them. And folks, you guys are doing fantastic jobs out there. Beautiful, beautiful. Even if it's just a small Afghan or blocks that some of the folks are putting together. I mean, Glenann shows all of her Boggy Creek makes on Fridays. So, and I think she does re-show some of those in the lives as well, but I'm not positive. But I have a feeling they're going to hit their goal of 2025 this year. Because they've got, they're showing on an average each week about 60 to 65 blankets. So when you kind of add those numbers up, it looks really good. And I know towards the end, many times more people will send them towards the end. So they get even more blankets then. And I do find it interesting that it is now the Yarny community that is fulfilling the needs for the Boggy Creek Blanket Brigade. Before, Nancy's mother's group was involved, but they have moved on to another charity. So now it is exclusively you guys that are making it happen for these kids. And that is a great project to get behind. Even if all you can do is a small portion of it with sending out blocks instead of sending out a finished blanket. So yeah, it's a great thing to be able to do that, and I hope that this continues to grow for years to come. And if you don't know what the Boggy Creek Blanket Brigade is, I will send you over to Nancy's channel where you can find, I believe she has a playlist for that. On Lynette's channel, she has a playlist of some of the different blankets that all of the different content creators have made, have created patterns for these. So she has got a playlist for that, which you can go look and recreate some of those blankets for yourself to do. And as always, you can always sit down and do what I tend to do a lot of times with my blankets. Not this one, because it is a pattern and I'm following the pattern. But with a lot of my other blankets, I may start out, with the granny square going around, and then I'll change that up to another stitch that I know. From there, change it up as I go. So it's a new blanket each time. It's not always the same thing. Although just plain granny blankets can be absolutely stunning. And of course, a lot of folks are not only doing the corner to corner, and those come out absolutely stunning. But it doesn't matter what you have with those come out beautiful. But I noticed a lot of people are also now doing that blanket that is the block stitch, which is row by row. It uses the granny stitch in it. Or that block of 3 double crochets. So don't be afraid to try something new with your blankets and mix it up. Mix up your patterns a little bit. I do that a lot of times when I start out making a shawl. and I will change up stitches, do different stitches, just to see how it will look. And each shawl comes out very different and very unique. So don't be afraid to try different stitches on projects you're working. You know, have some fun with your crochet. I think sometimes that's how many of us get kind of burnt out. We wind up doing the same thing over and over and over until we get to a point where like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I need something else. And then, you know, if we find a pattern we'd like to try, we find that it's difficult. Like that one pattern that I originally started with this blanket, and found out that the count was way off. There were a lot of problems with that count and the way that it's written, and I'm still looking for the errata for it. I don't know if there even is one. But blankets that cannot be recreated, any item that cannot be recreated from the way that the person has written the pattern, can mean one of two things. Either the person was not able to convey exactly what they were doing, or they just missed it when they were going over the pattern before they released it, or it was written by AI. So I don't know. You know, and AI patterns are pretty bad because quite frankly they suck. And if you've ever wanted to try that, go into ChatGPT and ask them to make a pattern for you, and print it out and see what happens. Most time you'll find that it is the worst written pattern in the universe. So yeah, that's been a lot of interesting fun to see some of the different AI patterns. And sometimes I have even seen patterns that the original language was translated to English and it's not correct. And the person who had it translated may have used Google Translate to translate it, and Google doesn't understand crochet terms, so sometimes it looks like a mess because of that. So you kind of have to be aware of those kind of things when you're out there, you know, choosing different patterns that you're going to work on. Well, guys, I think that's it for today. I do need to move on to something else. I have some projects in the sewing room that I need to finish up, so I'm going to move on to that. And in the meantime, everybody, remember to be a little kinder to yourself and to others, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.